Hello, so we are here talking about tools and what tools we use to carve, and hoping to give you some really good advice to help you get started and have a great experience carving. So I did just like we learned in the transfer videos where we learned how to transfer our image to our soap. I went through with a very fine needle tool. These wood-ended needle tools have a really nice fine point, and this is about the best tool in the room for that. And I poked through, and I have my carving transfer on my soap, and I went through and I drew my lines connecting my dots just like we learned in the past videos. And I think that it is super important to keep your sketch, your pattern that you're carving, visible right in front of you while you're carving. Another thing is that you need to always have a towel down. It really helps with cleanup, and we do not want these soap carvings on the floor. It will make the floor slick. It will make it a dangerous environment. So you need to always carve on a towel, and then you can transfer all of your shavings to a Ziploc bag for now. And then we will discuss what we're doing with the shavings later on. So please don't throw the shavings away. Please transfer them to a Ziploc bag for the time being, and then we'll deal with those shavings later. So not to the trash can and not on the floor. I have an array of different tools here at our disposal, and we will talk about how to get tools and check them in and out in class, so make sure that you understand those procedures. But this is just a little tour of the different carving tools that we have available in the sculpture studio. So first I want to talk about ribbon tools, and they're called ribbon tools because when you carve with them, they create like a ribbon of material, and that's not my name. That's like if I went to buy this set here, I think it was called a mini ribbon set. So mini ribbon tools. And you'll see that I've got a whole bunch of different shapes. I've got like a pointed diamond type shape. I've got this shape that's kind of like a pear, and to the side it has a point, and this is one of my favorites. I'll tell you that up front. I've got a round tool, and this, even though it seems really round, it's interesting because when you use a tool like this, it's only touching in a very round area. So when you want to just really isolate an area, it's gonna pull less than maybe other tools. So even though the circle seems counterintuitive for really fine detail work, sometimes it's the best. Then we have another smaller circle, right? Even more detail. So if I wanted to go in and remove a piece of soap in this tighter area, then I could, my head's in the way. I could use the round ribbon tool to really get in there because it's only touching really at that fine point. If you're wanting something with a really hard angle, then I suggest this one or this one. So these are great for removing specific pieces of clay. Now these ones are a little bit better for planing, and these ones don't have a specific up or down, these ones, but the orange handled tools do. And when you touch them, you'll feel like the bottom side has more of like a razor edge, and the top is really flat. And if we try to carve for the top, we're not going to get anything done. We always have to have the razor sharp side down, and it's a dual-ended tool. So we've got the bigger one here, we've got a smaller one here, so you can choose which one is correct for your job. And what's beautiful about these is that you can set it down and pull, and it's going to plane an area. See, can you see that? I'm going to we'll look at it a little bit closer on camera, shall we? There we go. Get it refocused. Beautiful. There we go. So you can see that area that I just drug with the orange handled planing tool. You have to already have had your detail stuff done to use this, but it gives us a lot of control, and it's very good for pulling in a straight line to kind of even an area out. I noticed that my carving's lower here, and so I might want to bring this over here. Now these are great, but they're not necessarily the best. They're good. Then there's also the planing tool that's orange handled, like this one that's got a nice sharp point. So if I want to get in here, right in this area between this leaf and this one, and I want to take some of that away, I want to make sure I got the scratchy end down, not the smooth end, and I can just kind of place it right where I want, press down and pull out, and I've isolated the little bit of material that I'm wanting to take away. And you got to remember, when you're doing this, you can't put it back. It's not going back. So you've got to choose your tool carefully, and you've got to work slow, right? You got to work slow. You got to take a little bit at a time, and you got to be careful about it. And it's very soothing to go in and carve, and it's fun to use the different tools. So we've got mini ribbons, and we've got our orange handled planers, and so I've shown you the teardrop, which is definitely my favorite, and then I've shown you, where did it go? Where'd the square guy? The square guy is really great. The square one, especially the bigger one, for getting rid, like really planing out or making an area one level. But you have to be really careful to hold it, not like this, but level, right? Level with your soap, and you'll get it as you start. My biggest advice to you in using tools is to go gently and carefully and build up your confidence, because you can't put it back. So moving on from my planing tools and my ribbon tools, which are similar but different, I have over here, back that up again, I have here, these are stainless steel modeling tools. Now these push the clay away instead of scraping a ribbon up, and so they're going to act differently. They're a scraping type of tool, and you know, you can use the same tool to do a lot of different jobs. It's about like the experience that you enjoy, what you enjoy using, and what the art is needing from you. So there's a variety of different tips. There's curved and rounded, there's pointy, there's sharp and blunt. So like if I'm wanting to get in to a smaller area, like this area here, I can go in and I can define that line a little bit better with this tool. And I can kind of gouge out and pull up and take material out of kind of like a trapped area. That I couldn't really do that with my ribbon and planing tools. I need a modeling tool for that. And sometimes it just takes messing around with different tools to get the right one. I like this guy, this one here, for really small areas, because I can get in there and I can pay really close attention and just scrape a little bit away. But you have to be careful, because these tools are pushing the soap out of the way. Sometimes they slide, and you have less control when you're using a modeling tool like this versus a carving tool like these. So does it have its place? Yep. Is it useful? Absolutely. You know, for like an inside area like this, it's trapped. Normal ribbon tools just they're not gonna cut it. So sometimes you'll think a tool is gonna be the one, and you get to working on it and you're like, oh no, that's not the one. and you got to trade the tool out, and that's okay. You got to listen to your material. You got to think about the space that you're carving, and you got to be patient. Give them art what it needs, right? So yeah, this was the best out of everything I picked up for this little guy. And if you start feeling like you're overdoing an area, just walk away from it. Just leave it alone. Don't mess with it. So what I'm doing is I'm leaving the positive space, which is the area that my leaves and stems are taking up. I'm leaving my positive space, and I'm taking away all of the negative space, then leaving the leaves so that they're resting on top of the soap. Now, a good question is, how do I know how far down to carve? That's really a personal choice. What I suggest is taking like a ruler and measuring, and then bringing the ruler across, and then like I've done here, you take the ruler and you just pull a line, and then you know, okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to let it go any deeper than that. Then my bed of soap will be too thin, and it will be, easily broken. Now, I don't have to go down that far. We could do shallower. We could have gone, up here. Whatever you do, you want to try to be consistent around the whole bar. So I'm going to do mine kind of deeper so that you get really like a deeper relief effect, and it just looks more dramatic and more on purpose. There's a few other wood tools that we can use. This is one of my favorite tools in the studio. This is a JA17. Some of us used it to be a smoothing, burnishing tool when we were working on our figure in motion. It also can be a scraping, smoothing tool when we're carving. So all of this is carvable, like tool. You can carve this end to make something smoother. You can use this end. You can use this end. And this one is probably my favorite. The butt of it is nice and curved. It's nice and thick. And we have a lot of control. So I can pull this across my soap and take off quite a bit of soap in one go. And it planes it, much like the planing tools before, but it's bigger, right? It's more of a mass tool. It is not for detail work, right? It's for moving moving a lot of soap at once. And sometimes you get the ripples, the ripple effect. I don't know if you can see that. You get the ripple effect when you use this, and you might have to go back in with a planing tool again when you're done to get it as smooth as you want. So I've talked about tools, but I do want to talk about going in and doing detail work and getting a really good fine crisp edge around your carving. So I have this leaf down here. It's this leaf. It's the feature leaf, right? And I feel like I've messed up, and some of the leaf is gone now. I didn't get it, and darn it, that happens, and I can't put it back. So if we get in this situation, we're just stuck with, it's just less dynamic. Like my leaf ends there now instead of going up here. And that's too bad, because that was really a beautiful line. And I want you to see this, that if you're not super careful, if you don't look at your original pattern often, then you're going to make mistakes and you're not going to get the design that you were looking for. So I want to take this clay off from around here. I could use a needle tool, I could use a cuticle stick, but I want to just kind of make that line a little more obvious. I'm going to go in and be heavier handed. See if I can save some of that leaf shape that I lost. And so now I know that I need to remove this soap in this area. And also, I need to remove the soap here in this area, all of this negative space, right? So I have this kind of bigger area that I got to get rid of, but I want to pull the soap away from the edges more carefully. And when I do that, I'm going to use, a smaller tool. So I'm thinking about what might be right. I'm thinking maybe my diamond tip might be a good choice. Maybe the the pear-shaped one might be a good choice. These ones that are kind of bigger, they could be a good choice, especially like when I've got this triangle here and I'm wanting to pull out a triangle of shape, because this is a triangle shape or a teardrop shape here, it might be a good choice. So what I'm saying is that there is not one specific tool that is correct. It's really up to the artist on what they feel they want to do. So I'm looking back here and I'm seeing what I got going on, and it can be kind of, oh, my head's in the way. It can be kind of difficult to see what am I supposed to be doing. And mistakes will be made. And if you make mistakes, then you just have to keep rolling with it, right? So I'm going to go in, and I want that pear-shaped tool there. And I'm going to line up my tool on the line that I drew, and I'm going to pull away. And I'm removing that negative space. Removing the negative space over and over, allowing that leaf to kind of pop up and emerge and be something on its own with a bed of soap below it. And it just takes, keeping your eyes on what you're doing, being patient. You don't want to let your ribbon tool stay too full of soap. You want to empty it so that it's not smashing soap into what you've already done. And this is a pretty soft bar of soap, so it's really easy to carve. It's going to be really easy to take things away, which means easier to make mistakes, right? So I'm just following the lines that I designed, and I'm looking at my original design often. So I'm like right here, and I'm noticing that I actually have like a stem here, and I'm really close to not honoring that stem. So I'm going to go in with my cuticle stick, and I'm going to push that down a little bit more, and I need to keep pulling the soap away, lining up my tool with the edge of my design and pulling. So a ribbon tool really is a great thing in this process. Don't get overzealous. Don't take too much clay at once. Don't let your ribbon tool get too full. Lots of don'ts, right? Do enjoy it. Do pull towards yourself, never away. You're going to pull towards yourself. So if you need to work over here, you're going to rotate. You're going to rotate what you're working on. And if you get a little bit cloudy about an area, like what you should be doing, just move to a different area. Look at what you're carving. Ask yourself some questions, like where is this connecting? Where is it going? What's happening? And clean up often, right? You can take a tool like this and kind of pick up some stray soap that's floating around, and wipe it on the towel. We can wash these when we're done, so you can just wipe it right on the towel there, and keep it nice and clean and tidy. You'll feel better about your carving. If it's real messy, it'll be hard to keep track of. So I will just keep scooting along, enjoying the carving, and change tools when I feel like I need to. And I think that's a really important is listening to the clay and not using a tool that doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right, there's other tools. Go get a different tool. All right, so I'm gonna keep working on my carving. The inside here, it's gonna be a bit of a beast. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be kind of rough because I can't scrape right off the side. So when I'm working on an inner area, I want to go in and I want to beef up my lines. I want to beef up my lines on the outside of my design. I don't want to carve on the inside, right? If I get a bunch of soap hanging out that's been carved, I can go in and pick it up with a tool. Don't smash it down with your fingers, then it'll make it more complicated. I'm going to pick it up with my tool and kind of brush it away and get it out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. I have found that sometimes it's hard to see what I'm doing on my soap, and if I grab my phone and turn on my camera, oh no, not my camera, my flashlight, there it is, sometimes that extra light is helpful. So when I'm at home, a lot of times I'll take like a cup. Mine comes with coffee, and it doesn't look great on the video, but in person it illuminates my carving so that I can see my dimension a little bit better. And if you're having a hard time seeing, you can ask to use the flashlight on your phone in the studio, but remember, otherwise we just don't touch our phones because we need our hands to sculpt. All right, so I'm going to keep carving down to that line that I've created so that my carving pops up. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to change tools when I need them. So just to review so that you can ask, use the right words. This is a JA-17. This is a cuticle stick. This is a wood-handled needle tool. The orange-handled tools are called planers. Planing meaning level areas. These are ribbon tools, right? And these are modeling tools. These stainless steel modeling tools. And so we have to have words so that we can identify things. So try to remember those. Maybe try to write those down in your notes, right? Modeling tools are the scrapers. The wood tools, needle tool, cuticle stick, JA-17. We have ribbon tools here, and we have our orange-handled planers. Okay, well, you know what you need to know now to get started on your carving experience. I wish you the best. I hope you have a great time. I hope you take it slow, and if you make a mistake, I hope that you find a way to work with it. All right, have a great time in the studio.